It is Ahsoka Tano Thursday evening. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi. An individual asked the following question. How exactly, now let's make sure that the sound levels are behaving themselves. How exactly do you get deep insights if you're so focused on an object? I understand that meditation allows you to objectively view your thoughts, but I often hear that you gain certain insights in deep meditative states. My confusion lies in the fact that in meditation you're supposed to be incredibly focused on an object, which then leads to insight. But how is this possible if your attention is entirely absorbed on a certain object? How can you realize revelatory truths if you're not focused on anything besides your breath, for example? This person asks a fabulous question. We're going to begin with insight. The Buddha, so evolutionary biology teaches us that complex animal life forms evolved to think symbolically. That is why in every culture there are figures of speech. Sometimes user-friendly in the form of similes, sometimes more advanced in the form of metaphors, but they are there. So when the Buddha spoke of insight, he wasn't speaking of us, computing how to create a longer-lasting light bulb. Instead, he was talking about the wisdom of letting go. So I'd like to jump ahead a few pages, if I may. This will work. Let me make sure that this is appearing correctly on the screen. That'll work. Okay. So check this out. When we relax in harmony with our exhalation, it becomes possible for that which we perceived during our previous inhalation to become to begin to feel fleetingly less solid, less permanent, and less defining of our identity. That's it. You see, every time we exhale, we are wired to access our parasympathetic nervous system ensconced within both the lower third of our spinal cord as well as its upper third. So this bad boy is already evolved to support both physical relaxation as well as mental release. So that's the first half of the question. Now the second half, about focus. Sturgeon's law reminds us that 90% of everything sucks, but no, not in the fun, tingly way. What could that suckiness be like? It could be like the way that most of us were raised, to be rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel. And so even with the best intentions, if this is our worldview, then we're probably going to teach from a place of rigidity and controlling tendencies. And when that happens, 9 out of 10 meditation teachers will implore you to actively focus or actively analyze or both. Now, the only neural pathways capable of delivering either of those actions are terribly discrete, such as those found in the medial prefrontal cortex or the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. Please forgive the primitiveness of these diagrams upon which I rely. But when we overuse our prefrontal cortex, we wind up activating our little almond-shaped amygdala, which functions as the seat of aggression and anxiety. So how ironic is it that in the name of peace and love, we access that which robs our peace and fuels our crankiness? Fortunately, the complexity of our central nervous system is not limited to simply two components. So we've already discussed how the parasympathetic nervous system works. Now let's take a look at the sympathetic nervous system. Every time we inhale, we have already evolved to automatically access the sympathetic nervous system found in the middle third of our spinal cord. This bad boy has evolved to help us perceive, in a very special way, to help us perceive vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly, which I'm sure you can agree is the opposite of the rigidity of concentration. The question remains, what is it that we have evolved to perceive? And the answer is mind's antics of perception. You know, seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, smelling, and the like, including emoting, intending, reasoning, recalling, and imagining. Excuse me. My throat's a little cranky right now. So, if we are stuck in rigidity, and if we are indulging our controlling tendencies, and we are actively concentrating, then that is not going to give us the metaphoric insight of the wisdom of letting go. But if we replace concentration with mindfulness, then the meditation of release becomes effortless. That is why the late Tulku Thondup described mindfulness as simply watching the play of mind. And that is why the late Chogdud Tulku described meditation as simply relaxing into the nature of mind. I do look forward to meditating with you, together as a team. Oopsie, I got ahead of myself here. I got a little too enthusiastic. Here we go. Together as a team after approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. Wow, look at that. Well, we got to fix that bad boy toot sweet because that is just not fitting on the screen. So what I'm going to do is hopefully click the right button. Okay, try it again. Alt and drag. Okay. And now I hit transform. And I hit center horizontally. Cowabunga. I then close this and move. Oh, that's fine. So, enough of that silliness. Let's move forward now. So let's practice together as a team, after approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School for more than 30 years. I've spent about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that you will not have to. Welcome, my friends, to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. Now I get to push the right button in the right sequence and invite you to join me with the latest iteration of very easy meditation. Just as you would not wish to take a luxury car off-roading, but instead would prefer to drive it on a really smooth road, we're going to drive the luxury car of mindfulness and meditation upon the really smooth road afforded to us by finger gesture-oriented energy work, which could be described in Sanskrit as mudra anuyoga. Oop, I'm having some problems with the old coordination. There we go. So I'd like to explain this to you. What we can do right now, together as a team, is collect or gather 4 collections of 12 sets of 12 rounds. So to explain how to do that and what that means in greater detail, I'm going to subject you to Jumbo Cam. Dun dun dun! Okay. Let us pretend that a round is simply one inhalation and one exhalation together as a team. Because if you only do one and not the other, well, you'll turn blue, tip over, wiggle funny, and scare the poor dog. And nobody wants to do that to our canine overlords. So how is one supposed to count 12 rounds upon 4 fingers and 1 thumb? Simple. During each inhalation, we can advance our right thumb in the following manner. 1, 2, let me say this. Over the span of 12 inhalations, we could advance our thumb thusly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now that's only going to take you 1 or 2 minutes. If you're trying to meditate for the better part of an hour, you need a way to kick it up a notch. Allow me to introduce the left hand, upon which we can count sets of 12 rounds. Always beginning with the little finger, just like they teach you in judo. You know, when you grab and then you twist and you grab. Basically, they say judo is the art of attacking another man's garments. But anyway, you always have the pinky on the inside for some strange reason. Well, energetically, that works really well. So we begin our counting thusly. 1, 2, 3 sets of 12 rounds. 4, 5, 6 sets of 12 rounds. 7, 8, 9 sets of 12 rounds. 10, 11, 12 sets of 12 rounds. But that will only give you about 15 minutes of meditation. There's nothing wrong with that if you're just starting out. Man, if you're just working, if you're just progressing gradually, 5 minutes, training 5 minutes every 12 hours the first week, 10 minutes every 12 hours the second week, 15 minutes every 12 hours the third week. That's splendid. In just 16 weeks, you can be up to 80 minutes. That's awesome. However, if you want to meditate for an hour, you're going to need to gather 4 collections, and that's where our knuckles come in. You see, something very special happens when we rest the great knuckle at the base of our right little finger upon the tip of our left little finger in our lap, palms up, that our thumbs might happily count creases. When we do that, our subtle energies begin to coalesce in the lower in the bladder region of our lower abdomen. And now we turn to the seventh and eighth folds of the Buddha's Eightfold Path, Ati Yoga's mindfulness and meditation. So just as we described during the opening lesson, the essence of mindfulness is to silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during each inhalation. And the essence of meditation is to silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during each exhalation. And now, together as a team, let us practice the messy miracle of meditation's perfect imperfection. Whereas we give ourselves permission to notice the external, the internal, the physical, the mental, the pleasurable, the painful, the interesting, the boring, the glorious, and the grotesque. Symbolized by this symbol here of perfect imperfection. Welcome to this evening's live stream. The easiest way to meditate is to silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during each inhalation, allowing yourselves to notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly mind's antics of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination. The easiest way to meditate is to silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during each exhalation, causing that which we noticed during our previous inhalation to fleetingly seem a trifle less solid, less permanent, and even less defining. We come now to our second of 4 collections of 12 sets of 12 rounds. We can count our 12 rounds on our right hand. During each inhalation, we can advance our right thumb. And over the span of 12 inhalations, we would advance our thumb thusly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We would count 12 sets of those 12 rounds on our left hand, beginning with our little finger. 1, 2, 3 sets of 12 rounds. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 sets of 12 rounds. To keep track of our second collection, we could rest the great knuckle at the base of our right ring finger upon the tip of our left ring finger in our lap, thumbs up. Doing so could induce, or at least invite, our subtle energies to coalesce in the navel region of our abdomen. Let us, as we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, we can practice mindfulness. And as we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, we could practice meditation. Remembering that mindfulness is simply noticing vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly mind's antics of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination. Whereas meditation is simply relaxing in harmony with our exhalation in such a manner that causes that which we perceived during our previous inhalation to be fleetingly less solid, less permanent, not necessarily be, but to feel or seem fleetingly less solid, less permanent, and less defining. And as always, the moment you have a specific question about Buddhist meditation or philosophy, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window. All right, welcome to this evening's live stream. We come now to our third of 4 collections of 8 sets of 12 rounds. Allow me to take a moment to explain to you how that works. Join me on the Jumbo Cam. So a round is simply 1 inhalation and 1 exhalation. If you only inhale and never exhale, well, you'll turn blue, tip over, wiggle funny, and scare the dog. So I think we're all in agreement it's important to both inhale and exhale. So we can count 12 rounds on just 4 fingers and 1 thumb. Here's how. During each inhalation, we can advance our right thumb. Over the course of 12 inhalations, we will advance our thumb thusly, always beginning with the little finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Not only is this great for our channels, winds and drops, but if you're as neurodivergent as myself, it's a fun way of stimming in slow motion. On our left hand, we can count 8 sets. 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of 12 rounds. 5, 6, 7, 8 sets of 12 rounds. And I mentioned that this is going to be our third collection. So the way we do that is that we rest the great knuckle at the base of our right middle finger upon the tip of our left middle finger in our lap with our palms up that our thumbs might happily count creases. Doing so, we could find that our subtle energies coalesce in the heart region of our chest. Allow me to remind you that the essence of mindfulness is simply to notice, vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly and fleetingly, mind's antics of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination. The easiest way to do this is to silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during each inhalation. What then is meditation? Meditation is simply relaxing in harmony with our exhalation in such a way that which we perceived during our previous inhalation could fleetingly seem less solid, less permanent, and less defining. The easiest way to do that is to silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during each exhalation. We come now to our fourth of 4 collections of 12 sets of 12 rounds. I'd like to take a moment or two to explain to you how to do this. Come with me to Jumbo Cam. Upon our right hand, we can count, we can advance our right thumb during each inhalation. Thus, over the span of 12 inhalations, we could articulate our thumb thusly: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That'll only take about 1 or 2 minutes. Now, if we want to meditate for at least 15 minutes or so, we'll want to multiply this by 12. So upon our left hand, we can count sets of 12 rounds, beginning with always with our little finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 sets of 12 rounds. Now, we are now on our 4th collection, so what we're going to do is rest the great knuckle at the base of our right index finger upon the tip of our left index finger in our lap, palms up, thus facilitating, giving our thumbs a chance to happily count creases on their fingers, on their respective fingers. As a fringe benefit of this whole Megillah, we could find that our subtle energies begin to coalesce in the region of the crown of our head. Allow me to remind you that the easiest way to practice the mindfulness is watching, passively watching, passive awareness of the antics of mind is to silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during each inhalation. Similarly, the easiest way to practice meditations, relaxation into the nature of mind, is to silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during each exhalation. May we joyfully surf life's perfect imperfections. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 10 2/3 hours, I would very much like to return to lead tomorrow's early meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you.